Welcome back to Tarot by the Bay. I'm David. All right, I was looking at a headline here saying that Trump says he regrets leaving the White House in 2021. The implication is that, he should never have left. He should have become a dictator back then. I did find the clip that he was talking about. The lead up into it was he was talking about the border wall, him having the safest border on the day that he left, and, now wide open or whatever. So, which then led into some weird rant about it taking 4 hours to fill out a ballot in Arizona, then jumps to Pennsylvania and how much he loves Pennsylvania, but somebody had 2,600 ballots with the same penmanship in Penn, and they say he's a conspiracy theorist for challenging that. Okay, so Trump's just, he calls it the weave. It's just his random stream of consciousness. He can't focus on a subject for any length of time. But the corporate media is also disingenuous. Because, they're going to look at you reading that story and saying, what? He said he wasn't going to leave? Pearl clutching, grab your heart, Elizabeth, it's the big one, I'm coming. No, he was just talking about his border. That's the only thing he can run on is his border. Everything else is just garbage. But, it's one of those things where it's dangerous just to read the headline, the clickbaity headline, without digging deeper. And even when I looked in the article, this is on CNN's website, when I looked in the article, there was no context given. I had to actually go find the quote. Kind of like when they're talking about Trump and performing fellatio on a microphone stand. I had to go find the Twitter thing, and some people say, I don't think he did. Yeah, he did. I was looking for it, and yeah, he did. I'm curious in this reading. I wasn't sure where I was going to go with this reading, as I wear my Groucho Marxist shirt. Because if I'm going to be a Marxist, I'm going to be a Groucho Marxist. Let's take a look at this. I record this on Sunday at 12:30. It's going to go up Monday night. I want to look at Trump and JD Vance. I want to look at I want to compare and contrast how they are looking at this election. I really believe that Trump is surrounded by yes men, and part of him is convinced by all the yes men that he's got this one in a landslide. But I think also part of him understands that he doesn't. And he's kind of self-destructing because he can't cope with that internal knowledge that he's failing. And I've described before the drowning person syndrome. You start flailing around, you will drag down anybody with you. When he loses this election, that could be another thing on this one. Will he start spilling the beans on everybody who's failed him? Outing Lindsey Graham, maybe talking about what Senator Chuck Grassley's done for him, Ted Cruz, Jim Jordan, Mike Johnson. Is he just going to lay everybody's secrets out to bear because they all failed him, so therefore they should be humiliated just like he is? That sort of thing. But let's take a look. Donald Trump, 2024 election. I'm going to look around the energy around Trump, then we'll go into a series of forecasts, okay? So this will be for entertainment purposes only. Let's look at the energy around Donald Trump as he sees it for this 2024 election. Fight, fight, fight. 7 of Wands. He thinks he's got the advantage. He's fighting off, the Marxists, communists, libtards, fascists, whatever things he woke. Muslims, who knows, whatever he's on. He thinks he's fighting the good fight and winning the good fight, and crossed with, it's just, this is going to be his legacy and the money that he's going to get from doing it and the privilege and all that stuff. And he's looking forward to continuing to fight and cementing his legacy going forward. In the past, the star card. He's always thought himself as a star. Back in the 80s, he was always self-promoting. But I think the problem here is that NBC and The Apprentice, they made him a TV star. And I swear to God, the guy believes everything he sees on TV. And that took him to an all-new level of psychosis. Thank you very much. current situation is the Six of Cups. He can't picture a scenario where people don't love him. When he says that part, nobody's done more for the X community than me, he truly believes that. And basically, he thinks that if he says, oh, I've got gay friends and gay people are okay, that to them, they should be grateful for the rest of their lives. Because he gave them the ultimate compliment, something that came out of his mouth. I mean, that's the kind of psychosis I'm talking about here. And he doesn't actually do anything. He just said something that sounded nice. And, gold-plated stuff. But it's got gold on it, so therefore you should be really appreciative. That's the narcissism coming through. Overarching energy is the Knight of Wands. He plays, it's been documented that he doesn't plan anything. This is a card of planning, but Donald Trump this is like the reverse. He doesn't plan a damn thing. He just lets life come to him, and then he swats at whatever ball or fly or object that comes at him with his polo pony here, his polo club. He doesn't plan things. He takes it as they come, and it works for him. The lesson to be learned is the Six of Swords, excuse me. Looking at how Trump is viewing things here and how he believes it. He actually believes he's going to take America to a calmer place. No, the secured border is going to prevent these folks from coming in. He's going to lock down the government and everybody who said bad things about him. He's going to deport all sorts of people. He can't wait to get in and implement his grievances. Get rid of brown people, publicly execute conservatives who disagree with them, and, there will be no end to the vengeance, anger, and revenge that he would exact upon everybody. Because he's crazy. He believes he's sane and everybody else is crazy. But he's crazy. He's not in his right mind. And Trump has always been like that. I don't think he's ever looked at the downside of anything. He only looks at the upside. And specifically the upside for him. And if he ever feels like somebody's getting a better deal than he is, he tries to change the parameters of that deal at the last moment so that he feels like he's got the upside. Time and time again, he's done that in his businesses. I cannot quote any specific stories, but you can look those up. He will kill, just remember one was Don Jr. He told Don Jr. to do a certain deal. Don Jr. did it, came back to his father with the deal, and his father said, no, this is no good, change this. When it's supposed to be just a rubber stamp signature, and then he's changing contracts, willing to take a deal. And most of the people on the other side are willing to give him these little petty victories because they spent a lot of time working out a big deal. And so, that's how he skims his 10% on everything. Trump is confident. That's who he is. He's crazy. He's lost his faculties. Now, let's take a look at JD Vance, looking at the lens from somebody who is ambitious, power hungry, and his morals and ethics are as fluid as his sexuality, probably. And did I happen to say this was for entertainment purposes only? I don't know if his sexuality is fluid, but he seems like kind of a smooth, fluid kind of guy, Doesn't have like those morals and ethics, they're pretty transactional. A lot of blurring of the lines there. How's JD Vance feeling about all this? Speaking of crazy, JD Vance is looking at all the positives as well. But I'm wondering if he's also wondering if Trump is crazy. So this could be your 25th Amendment card right there. All I need to do is just ride his crazy train to the election, get elected, and he's gone. Wow, look at these similar cards. I do shuffle, I don't put the cards back in the same spot, clustered next to each other, and I do shuffle. I'm wondering if JD Vance actually thinks they've got a fighting chance on this. Pair of sevens. With the 8 of coins underneath it. I just either JD Vance, I think, thinks that they have enough people to win him at the election, and if they don't, that shenanigans will happen that will get them there. There's a lot of working behind the scenes. Maybe Peter Thiel's money has rotted his brain too. But it's like they've got these plans in place here to get there. Maybe JD Vance actually thinks they're going to get in there. Maybe he does. In the past, you got the Knight of Cups. JD Vance was forced in on Donald Trump. I've done readings on that one. I think Marco Rubio was supposed to be Trump's choice. Actually, some folks were saying that governor from North Dakota. Regardless, JD Vance had the absolute worst cards ever to be a VP choice. And they put him as the VP, and those cards came true. JD Vance has just been an absolute freaking nightmare as a VP choice. But I think JD Vance was approached by Peter Thiel, the Heritage Foundation, saying, hey, we want you to take this position because they want JD Vance to be the president because he will institute their changes and make the American oligarchy happy and institute a Christian nation where they can oppress women to their heart's content. Current situation is the Lover's card. JD Vance, honestly, I think he's got a lot of support. He feels very supported. I think he feels like they're going to get there. I don't know what numbers he's looking at. Maybe it's just power brokers behind the scene. I'm not sure. Where are we going with this? I don't think this is relationship-wise with JD Vance. Yeah, it's just more money. You know, not to get super creepy, but it could be JD Vance being propositioned by Peter Thiel, you know? We can do this and I'll give you this type of thing. Remember I was talking about fluidity. And that, again, entertainment purpose only. I have no idea about JD Vance's sexuality. All I know is that he is married, he likes to wear eyeliner, and he used to have friends that were in the LGBTQ community that he was close friends with. And that apparently his morals and ethics are fluid, and other things might be fluid too, for whatever serves him best at the moment. His Heritage Foundation wanted them to be their guy. They're going to offer him power, and that's the thing that he seems to crave the most. Current situation, or the lesson to be learned, is the Eight of Swords. And now they're stuck with him. And Trump is stuck with JD Vance. And JD Vance is stuck with Trump. In an earlier rant, I was talking about one of the things about that sort of seems to unify MAGA is their victimization. That they're a helpless victim and it's everybody else's fault. So they need a champion to come in here and fix things for them. And they will reward that champion with their devotion and loyalty. But I think JD Vance doesn't like being tied to Trump. His hands are tied. There's not a lot he could do. If JD Vance had ideas on how to run this campaign, he doesn't get to express them. They're letting Trump and Trump's handlers win it because JD Vance can't win an election. He's unelectable. Donald Trump's unelectable, but he could still win an election. He certainly won the Republican primary. The outcome is the Page of Pentacles. They offer JD Vance power. He's going to come out of it with less power than he went in. It's like, here's the offer, but now it's down to words. Honestly, I'm thinking JD Vance is cautiously optimistic that they can pull this off because they have contingency plans. And he might be, and that Seven of Cups is the foundation, he might be blinded by his ambitions. Ambition can do that. It can absolutely blind you to objective reality. And JD Vance may be struggling with some of his objective realities. Something along those lines. All right. something else I was going to read on now. No, and it's gone. Let me pause for a second and see if I can figure it out. It's pretty much gone at this point. But here's kind of an interesting one. Will JD Vance give a full-throated support to the election was rigged? Is he gonna play along with that? Does his ambition point him that direction? Because that, to me, that would indicate that he's on board with the plan. I think the plan is ultimately to try and have the House object to the election and send it to the states to have the states vote. And there's more red states than blue states, so they'll win on a straight up vote. If you were to look at the population numbers of those states versus the population numbers for the ones that would vote for the Democrats, it'd probably be 60-40, or 2/3 that would be for the Democrats and 1/3 for the Republicans, because of population density in those areas. Let's take a look, though. JD Vance, are you going to fully support election interference and stolen election, rigged election type stuff? Temperance card. Maybe. Maybe he'll wait to see how things turn out. Let's do a 4-carder here. We'll do the full 7. He's going to be pressured to do it, though. You got to crusade. You got to do this. You got to support that the election was stolen. That's basically part of the plan here. In the past, Page of Pentacles. Yeah, this was the outcome. So now, what do you have? It's all all talk at the end when they lose the election. So now, do you say the election was stolen? We need you to get out and do this, because this is part of the plan going forward. King of Wands. Yeah, this is like you need to lead the charge here. He's going to be voluntold to do this. He's not excited, though. This is kind of like curb. I doubt he's going to go out there passionately and do it. He's going to want to curb his enthusiasm. I don't think he's enthusiastic about doing this. It didn't work the last time, and I think he's smart enough to realize it's not going to work this time. And by doing this, you're flushing your political career down the toilet and opening yourself up to criminal prosecution. You will be, if he does do this, he will be his own worst enemy, because he will tank himself. Out comes the Tower. He will either. There's not going to be a middle decision here. JD Vance is going to make up his mind. He will be full-throated in supporting the election denialism, in which case it's going to lead to his ruin as a political figure, as well as potential criminal charges type of thing. Or he is going to decide that he's not going to do that, in which case he will be persona non grata. Trump will dump him, disown him, turn MAGA against him, basically saying that JD Vance is a bigger rhino as anybody else. I think that if I were a betting man, you got JD Vance's intelligence saying this is a bad idea versus his wisdom, which is, do you have the ability to listen to your intelligence and make a wise choice? I think intelligence-wise, he knows that the probability of him winning the strategy is not good, but his desire for power is so strong that the wisdom might say, yeah, we're going to do this anyways because the payout's really, really good. It's like betting on the 99-1 horse versus the favorite. But the 99-1 comes in, man. Whew, we're gonna be winning big time. Should Trump lose? That's what I was gonna do with this one. 4 carders. Should Trump lose? What's he gonna say about Lindsey Graham? Ace of Swords. You think he's gonna come out on Lindsey? He's going to tell people what Lindsay's been hiding, who Lindsay really is. And, he likes men, and that's okay by me, but, maybe if he spent less time with men. Like for Lindsey Graham, he's going to out Lindsey Graham. He totally will out him. And maybe even imply that Lindsay could be found like on the Jeffrey Epstein list of characters, that sort of thing. He's going basically, I think he's going to imply that Lindsay likes little boys, something like that. Chuck Grassley. He doesn't seem to have much of a beef with Chuck Grassley. But Grassley was in on it in 2020. He absolutely was. No doubt in my mind. I've thrown on that before, and I got some pretty alarming cards for he and Lindsey Graham. Back in the 2020 election. I said 2024. Back in the 2020 election. Grassley was really involved in that. We had that tweet saying, Mike Pence isn't showing up and I'll be counting the votes. Why in God's name would you tweet that out? Part of the coup. Chuck Grassley. What's Trump going to do with Grassley? 3 of Wands. Maybe nothing. Maybe he still has some use for Grassley. Wheel of Fortune. The Magician. 2 of Wands. Trump may not say anything about Grassley, but I think Jack Smith, on the other hand, has plans for Chuck Grassley, just as I was mentioning with that tweet. It's such an interesting tweet putting on there that Grassley's turn of going through some things, Grassley's turn's coming up. Jack Smith is waiting in the wings in here. He's been planning on Grassley for a while. So, yeah, I think Trump could say something about Grassley, but the Department of Justice and Jack Smith's already on it with him. He's going to be Grassley's going to be one of those people that's going to be implicated. Maybe Grassley steps down trying to avoid accountability for that. I'm a 90-something-year-old senator for 30 years or whatever his story is. I'm powerful and you can't do that to me. Mike Johnson, last one. What will Trump do with Mike Johnson? Because, again, he's going to blame the people who are in charge. And we already know he doesn't like Mitch McConnell. So he can say anything he wants to do about McConnell and nobody's going to really care. But, and again, he doesn't really go after his political enemies too much. He goes after his political allies because they are the ones that need to do the heavy lifting. The enemies are the enemies for a reason. And so he doesn't trust them. But his political allies, they have to do the sun, the moon, and the stars to get him through there. So, Mike Johnson. What's Trump going to do with Mike Johnson when Trump loses? The Hermit. More stuff's going to be revealed on Johnson. What's that about? He wants to end Johnson's career because Johnson didn't do enough. Porn star. The sun, the moon, and the stars, as I was talking about here. God, that 2 of Wands has come up a lot. Right. Johnson's the one that's supposed to come up with the plan. He won't say anything bad about Johnson yet, because Johnson is his star, his knight in shining armor, as it were. Johnson's the one that's supposed to deliver the house, which is going to get this plan going here. This isn't going to work. It's going to be shot down 10 ways to Sunday. But he's not going to say anything bad about Johnson, because Johnson's actually trying to get stuff done. So Johnson will eventually, I think, get thrown under the bus, but it won't happen for a bit because he's still relying on Johnson to get stuff done with that plan with that. So Johnson gets like a 2 to 3 month reprieve over everybody else. But yeah, it's evil's going to consume itself in this case. JD Vance, I think he's blinded by ambition. Donald Trump's just crazy. And there's going to be some people facing consequences for their previous support of Trump that didn't deliver because, well, people need to pay the price for Donald Trump's failures in Donald Trump's mind because it's never his fault. It's always somebody else's fault underneath him. If they had just done their job right, we wouldn't be in this position. All right, we're going to leave it here. Thank you very much for watching this video and supporting my channel. I appreciate it. This reading is for entertainment purposes only, but I hope you do find it entertaining, or it's certainly insightful, I would hope. And boy, that came out terribly. I hope that you find it insightful, and if not that, entertaining, and I'll catch you on the next video. Take care.